Okay.
Right, well then, let's have an intro. It's cracking.
Hi guys, welcome to Grimm to the Brim again. This week, what?
I'm just going to stop you. I've muted you, but I can still hear you.
Fuck off, David.
I think that's because...
You're in the same room as me.
But I shouldn't be able to hear you. No, I can still hear you in this. It's not muted you. That's the problem.
Grimm
To the Brim.
Grimm to the brim.
Grimm to the brim.
Grimm to the Brim.
Grimm.
Grimm to the Brim. Grimm.
Grimm to the brim.
Grimm to the Brim. Grimm to the Brim.
Grimm to the brim.
It's Grimm. Grimm to the Brim. It's still Grimm.
Grimm to the brim.
Grimm to the Brim.
Grimm to the brim.
Grimm. Grimm to the Brim.
Grimm to the brim.
Grimm.
Right, give us an intro to remember for all time. Go on.
Hi guys, welcome to Grimm to the Brim. Today we've got banana nugs and
Davie Mustardface.
and
I haven't thought of a name. Yeah, Andy. Andy's here. Hello.
And I'm here as well. I'm not painting pots this week. I'm just Kate.
Need pots, need paint, it's Kate.
So what story is it this week then, Andy?
Oh, well, I've got a great... Yeah, well, what? I've got an okay story for you this week. So the story I have this week is called Old Hildebrand. Do you want to hear it? Hold on.
You know what?
Yeah.
No, I think I'll have a
Don't
lie
have
down.
much to...
I'm going by.
Well, the point is you've probably heard them all before by now. They're all very similar. Hey, enough talking about the story. Let's just tell you the story, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make it fly by.
Once upon a time lived a peasant and his wife, and the parson of the village had a fancy for the wife, and had wished for a long while to spend a whole day happily with her, and the peasant woman too was quite willing. One day, therefore, he said to the woman, "Listen, my dear friend, I have now thought of a way by which we can for once spend a whole day happily together. I'll tell you what. On Wednesday, you must take to your bed and tell your husband you are ill. And if you only complain and act being ill properly and go on doing so until Sunday, when I have to preach, I will then say in my sermon that whosoever has at home a sick child, a sick husband, a sick wife, a sick father, a sick mother, a sick sister, brother, or whosoever else it may be, and makes a pilgrimage to the Gherkins hill in Italy, where you can get a peck of laurel leaves for a krauser, the sick child, the sick husband, the sick wife, the sick father or sick mother, the sick sister, or whosoever else it may be, will be restored to health immediately."
He's a bit of a rambler, isn't he?
Is this like one of those things where you're like, you're writing an essay and you've got to fill it out
Yeah,
with more words?
definitely.
'Cause
It's working though, isn't it? Because it's you can feel yourself being more entertained the longer it goes on.
A sick factory worker, a sick candle maker, a sick pillowcase.
and a banana.
Yeah. He says, yeah, exactly. He's shown quite a lot of restraint in this story to not list literally everything. So don't worry. He does value your time. Or they do. "I will manage it," said the woman directly. Now, therefore, on the Wednesday, the peasant woman took to her bed and complained and lamented as agreed on, and her husband did everything for her that he could think of, but nothing did her any good. And when Sunday came, the woman said, "I feel as ill as if I were going to die at once, but there is one thing I should like to do before my end. I should like to hear the parson's sermon that he is going to preach today." On that the peasant said, "Ah, my child, do not do it. Thou mightest make myself... rough one. Thou mightest make thyself worse if thou wert to get up. Look, I will go to the sermon, and I will attend to it very carefully, and will tell thee everything the parson says." "Well," said the woman. "Go then, and pay great attention, and repeat to me all that thou hearest." So the plan is afoot.
Were you channeling Jason Statham there?
I thought it was like a shit Michael Caine.
No, I've written down Ray Winston, but
I was getting Ray Winstone, to be honest with you. It's a compliment.
Nice. Okay.
Schmeichel Caine.
Yes, so there's some infidelity going on here. I don't know if you've picked up on that. Some naughty stuff's
Yeah,
about to
she
go
was all
down.
for it, wasn't she?
With the parson.
Line 1 of the story.
Yeah, it doesn't mess around.
What's a parson?
It's like a parsnip.
It's like a priest, like a vicar. And if you're going to die, the main thing that you want to do before you die, it's not going to Disneyland or swimming with dolphins. It's listening to a
Got to
parson's
hear that
speech.
sermon.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
I love that shit.
Gotta hear
back
that
then.
I'll die a
Parson go
happy
off.
paint potter.
Get me a parsnip out the fridge.
And put a sermon on the radio. This is going to be a long night. So the peasant went to the sermon, and the parson began to preach and said, if anyone had at home a sick child, a sick husband, a sick wife, a sick father, a sick mother, a sick sister, brother, or anyone else, and would make a pilgrimage to the Gherkins hill in Italy, where a peck of laurel leaves costs a krauser, the sick child, sick husband, sick wife, sick father, sick mother, sick sister, brother, or whosoever else it might be, would be restored to health instantly, and whosoever wished to undertake the journey was to go to him after the service was over, and he would give him the sack for the laurel leaves and the krauser. That wasn't the parson speaking. That was just a summary of what the parson said.
You have to psych yourself up for the parson.
Yeah, just so you were.
Prepare for the
I
parson.
could sort of feel the disappointment, that they didn't go into sexy voice immediately. So I'm just.
You're about to be parsoned.
Then no one was more rejoiced than the peasant. And after the service was over, he went at once to the parson, who gave him the bag for the laurel leaves and the krauser. After that he went home, and even at the house door he cried, "Hurrah, dear wife! It is now almost the same thing as if thou wert well. The parson has preached today that whosoever had at home a sick child, a sick husband, a sick wife, a sick father, a sick mother, a sick sister, brother, or whosoever else it might be, and who would make a pilgrimage to the Gherkins hill in Italy, where a peck of laurel leaves costs a krauser, the sick child, sick husband, sick wife, sick father, sick mother, sick sister, brother, or whosoever else it was, would be cured immediately. And now I have already got the
No
bag.
wonder she's cheating on her husband.
I have already got the bag and the krauser from the parson, and will at once begin my journey, so that thou mayest get well the faster. And thereupon he went away.
Oh, he's so lovely, though.
He's a good husband.
He is a good husband. What a bitch.
Yeah. He's doing all of this stupid shit just so she can have it off with
Yeah.
the parsnip. He was, however, hardly gone before the woman got up, and the parson was there directly. So as soon as he left the door, he was out with his little sack and his krauser. And she was up, and the parsnip was straight there. But now we will leave these two for a while and follow the peasant, who walked on quickly without stopping in order to get the sooner to the Gherkins hill, and on his way he met his gossip. His gossip was an egg merchant, and was just coming from the market, where he had sold his eggs.
How'd you like them eggs, pal?
Ah,
That's the name of his stall. How'd you like them eggs?
How'd you like them eggs?
Pal.
Pal.
may you be blessed, said the gossip. Where are you off to so fast? To all eternity, my friend, said the peasant. My wife is ill, and I have been today to hear the parson's sermon, and he preached that if anyone had in his house a sick child, a sick husband, a sick... fucking hell. A sick
Fucking hell,
wife,
man.
a sick father, a sick mother, a sick sister, brother, or anyone else, and made a pilgrimage to the Gherkins hill in Italy, where a peck of laurel leaves costs a krauser. The sick child, the sick husband, the sick wife, the sick father, the sick mother, the sick sister, brother, or whosoever else it was, would be cured immediately. And so I have got the bag for the laurel leaves and the krauser from the parson, and now I am beginning my pilgrimage.
I've changed my mind. Jason Statham can get fucked.
Yeah, I feel I'm dizzy after that. I need to. Good thing I'm sitting down on my boobs. Listen, gossip, said the egg merchant to the peasant. Are you then stupid enough to believe such a thing as that? Don't you know what it means? The parson wants to spend a whole day alone with your wife in peace, so he has given you this job to do to get you out of the way.
Big
That's a
gherkin,
thing?
bitch.
Like, that's a thing. Like, how did you not know that? It's so obs.
How many people has he gherkined is what I want to know.
You gotta trust a man of the clergy. That's it.
It sounds like you
Apparently
should only
not,
trust the
'cause-
Eggman. Don't trust
Don't
anyone
I
trust
else.
was
the
gonna
Eggman.
say, Eggman seems to think that this is a
All
thing.
hail
This is a
Eggman.
common thing.
What did I say? My word, said the peasant. How I'd like to know that's true. Come then, said the gossip. I'll tell you what to do. Get into my egg basket, and I will carry you home. And then you will see for yourself. So that was settled, and the gossip put the peasant into his egg basket and carried him home.
Is he a tiny man?
Get in the thing.
Get in
That's
his
why
egg
his wife
basket.
wants the parson.
When they got to the house, hurrah! But all was going merrily in there. The woman had already had nearly everything killed that was in the farmyard and had made pancakes. And the
Oh.
parson was there and had brought his fiddle with him. So
Oh.
it's absolutely kicking off inside.
Firstly,
Pancakes
what the
and
fuck
fiddles.
is she? What is she making the pancakes out of? That is what I'm
Dead
curious
cows.
about.
Everything's dead, and I want pancakes. Get your fiddle out. It's been
Get
gone
your
5
fiddle out
minutes.
for the lads.
Like, imagine the scene. Everything's dead and bleeding all over the place. She's eating pancakes, and he's just fiddling like a mad bastard.
They're playing the best of the cause. Yeah.
Wow.
And the husband walks through the door and he's like, well, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Eggman, you're shit. So what did Jason Statham
The
say?
gossip knocked at the door, and woman asked who was there. It is I, gossip, said the egg merchant. Give me shelter this night. I have not sold my eggs at the market, so now I have to carry them home again, and they are so heavy that I shall never be able to do it, for it is dark already. Indeed, my friend, said the woman, thou comest at a very inconvenient time for me, but as thou art here, it can't be helped. Come in and take a seat there, on the bench, by the stove. Then she placed the gossip and the basket which he carried on his back on the bench by the stove. The parson, however, and the woman were as merry as possible. At length the parson said, Listen, my dear friend. Thou canst sing beautifully. Sing something to me. How? Said the woman. I cannot sing now. In my young days, indeed, I could sing well enough, but that's all over now. Come, said the parson once more. Do sing some little song. On that the woman began and sang,
Here we go.
I've sent my husband away from me to the Gherkins hill in Italy. Thereupon the parson sang, I wish 'twas a year before he came back. I'd never ask him for the laurel leaf sack. Hallelujah. Then the gossip who was in the background began to sing, but I ought to tell you the peasant was called Hildebrand. Just left that out until this point. So the gossip sang, What art thou doing, my Hildebrand dear, there on the bench by the stove so near? Hallelujah. And then the peasant sang from his basket, All singing I ever shall hate from this day, and there, and here in this basket no longer I'll stay. Hallelujah. And he got out of the basket and cudgelled the parson out of the house. The end.
What?
Oh,
That wasn't so much a song.
I'm
as
sorry,
a
did you
rap.
just- Did you just say the end? Is that the end of the
Done, I'm out.
story?
Finished.
Right, what's the moral? The moral of the story is, if someone tells you that to go get gherkins, don't.
Yes.
Just go to McDonald's. They'll give you them cheap.
Because nobody
You
likes
just pick them out the bin at McDonald's, don't you?
No, I had a sandwich the other day and there were far too many gherkins in it, and I had to pull them out.
Being gherkined.
I felt sick.
Do You know what it is as well, that she just answered the door and he was like, "Hi, my name is Gossip." And she was like, "Well, hey, come on in. I'm having an affair on my husband." What could you possibly report back to the whole town?
Also, so this tiny man, which we've established,
Yes.
climbed into the egg basket.
Mm-hmm.
She's married to him, so she knows what he looks like.
Yes. But he's in a basket.
She doesn't know it. Doesn't notice him.
He's in a basket. It's like being invisible.
I think he's just a fully grown man, you know, just
A
like,
fully grown man with his legs dangling out
just
the...
crammed in, breaking all the eggs underneath him, just cartoonishly. Yeah.
And nobody died.
What?
Maybe
Are
they
you
did,
sure
but
this is a Grimm's?
All of the animals died. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, for the pancakes.
That don't use meat. Yeah.
Maybe the fiddle was made of meat. I
Here's
don't
the
know.
thing, they were vegan pancakes, so...
Is that the plot twist? You didn't see that coming.
So what is the moral of the story?
Don't trust the clergymen because they're liars and they will try to sleep with your women. Don't trust
And your
women because they
sons.
will lie to you and try to sleep with the clergymen.
Make sure you can fit in an egg basket.
Well, like, check that before you
Yes.
set off.
Yeah. And if you are going to like surprise and get revenge, do it in song.
How'd you like them eggs, pal?
Real to the Breel is where we take a real life event or story from our lives and retell it with a Grimm's fairy tale twist. This week is my story. It's called The Tower. There was once a young boy who lived in a meagre home in an impoverished village. He used to dream of one day becoming something vastly important, like a king, a prince, or even a maker of hand-woven handicrafts. Instead, he was merely a peasant. His father was a peasant. He used to wipe old men's assholes on busy Wednesday mornings as they made their way to meetings in a hut designed for business speak. His mother was a melon impersonator who literally had to pretend to be a melon for money. Between the two parents, they only made enough money to live in a small hut with no roof, walls, or floor. They were so poor they had to whip each other to sleep, because if they didn't, they would merely remain awake in a constant state of financial despair. At one point, the whole family were beaten within an inch of their life by a random rich boy who just decided to walk into their house. One day, the young boy, who was really quite smelly and frankly disgusting in appearance, decided to try and climb up to the highest point of the tallest tower of a palace, which was situated just outside of his back garden. Strangely, he didn't remember the palace being there before the night he decided to climb and ascend, but ascend he did. Up and up he climbed, in his bare feet, filthy and reeking of human excrement. He believed truly in his heart that when he reached the top of the tower, he would be invited inside by the prince, who would agree to switch lives with him, because the life of a prince is very boring, very dull and tedious. He remembered watching a play in town about a prince and a pauper called The Prince and the Pauper. He began to fantasize as he gained momentum and height. As he reached the top of the tower, he felt his grip tighten. He felt the tower begin to come away, loose in his hands. He felt the whole structure fall apart beneath his feet and his hands. He heard screams from within and beneath. He began to sink deep into the foundations. Eventually he found himself sat upon a pile of rubble. The prince reached out through the pile with a hand covered by a green velvet glove. The boy stole the glove from the still twitching hand of the prince. "At last, I am finally a he began before being interrupted by a gigantic axe to the face. As he lay silently bleeding to death, he thought to himself, "Hey, what a crazy story this will make one day." He became despondent. He also died. The end.
You've had quite an interesting life, eh?
So, David, you just made that up. That's not a real story.
I want to hear the tenuous link to reality. You once stole some kid's glove.
No, the real story, basically, we had this towel rack in the downstairs toilet when I was a kid, and basically there was like these shiny tiles, and you know when you could like walk like barefoot up like the door frame it with your bare feet when you're a kid, because they're kind of like sweaty feet, and it's like you're an octopus or something walking up the wall, you know. Well, basically, I just decided to climb up the whole wall using the towel rack, and like the wall collapsed underneath, and the tiles came off the wall, and like part of the wall fell
I'm
down.
not surprised.
Wow. How old were you now? Like, how high up did you
was
get?
25.
Yeah, 25.
Hey.
I was probably about 6 or 7.
It seemed like you fell from a great height when you were that age.
It was pretty intense. Like, my brother tells a story from his point of view. Like, he was showing my dad a nice drawing that he'd done, and he was just like, "Oh, that's lovely," and then he just went, "What the fuck?" And he just ran to get us. But like the way the house is, like, I was able to run through the dining room while he ran the other way. Then I went upstairs and just like hid under my bed. Well, not under the bed, but like in the bed with the duvet over us. You know, he was pretty pissed off. Then he had to like fix the wall, but it's never the same again. It was always a mess. It was just the whole structure had been broke. All the tiles had been smashed, and he just kind of slapped them back together so that there was something on the wall. You know, it took ages to finally replace them.
Why did he think the prince was going to swap spaces with him? Because I don't know what kind of mad,
It's just because it's the story, isn't it?
shitty man just walked into my house.
If you'd ever seen The Prince and the Pauper, basically it's like this TV film, and they did decide to do that.
I don't think he smelled like shit and he just walked in like, we're swapping now.
Well, yeah.
Woo! Of course.
Tag.
That's the freedom he
The
craves.
tag is a smear of shit.
He's so sick of not smelling like shit. He just can't take it anymore. I will trade places with this urchin. This turdchin. Uh-huh.
If that was me, I'd have just kicked him back down the tower, you know, just get rid.
Yeah, well, they all died before they had a chance to even consider the consequences or even think. Like, before we'd even got to the good part of the story, they all just died. So there was never... Oh.
I did want to hear about the turd prince.
Third Prince?
He would have become a turd prince, right?
Oh yeah, but he died when his glove was stolen. Little bitch.
Everyone was crushed. For a moment, I thought he was going to take the glove, and then I was like, is he going to put the glove on and just be like, I'm the prince now. I'm wearing the royal glove.
Nah. The lone glove is another story.
Is it?
Oh God,
I
yeah.
should have merged them
Yes,
into
it
one.
is.
That'll be the next Breel, I hope.
Mm-hmm. There's so many good brills. The lone glove, the
What lives you've lived.
balloon-filled transport, the
The swimming pool
the swimming pool.
of death.
I legit thought that's what this week's brill was going to be, David.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
You hyped me up
Well, I was just too drunk to remember it.
because I read that and I was like, oh my God. I was like, a little bit of wee came out when I was reading that story.
You've read the actual story, which will ruin it, really.
It will, but I'll also be able to picture it in my head at the same time.
We teased the ghost train and then never delivered on it.
This is also true.
We're
David,
just
you make
building up
so
to
many
that.
promises, you never deliver.
I think
You
David
shit,
should just do the Breels.
No, let's all take the turns and play nice.
Yeah. I mean, I want to know what you were thinking when you were climbing the wall
Well,
as a young Ben.
it was a very
What
small
was the
wall. Like, it wasn't much of a wall.
you just saw the challenge, or were you like a kid with lots of energy? What was the deal?
It just felt like it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what else to say about it, really.
Because the other side to this is the part where you said your brother was like showing off something he'd done to your dad.
Doing a lovely
So
drawing.
like it almost sounds like you were in the other room, like I'll show them. I want to be center of attention. I'm David. I can climb the wall. And you were halfway up, and then you fell, and then it was like,
It's a bit like that time the bath overflowed.
what were you doing? You climbing in the bathtub?
No, I was trying to learn how to play Merry Christmas War It's Over in another room while the bath was running.
And I came upstairs and was like, David, there's water coming in through the ceiling.
And I walked out this room and I went into the passage and the floor was just soaked absolutely sodden under my feet. And all the lights had gone out downstairs and all around, like the electrics had gone off.
Little did you know that war was just beginning.
Well, that's why I don't listen to John Lennon, because like every time I listen to him, something bad happens.
Do you
It's
get
like,
PTSD?
no, it's like a curse. Like the more of it I listen to, the worse the bad thing is, or the more intense the bad thing is. Like
He's banned now.
I don't have any of
It's
his
not allowed.
albums. I just don't. I can't listen to him.
The ceiling can't take it, man.
Yeah, maybe I should push this to the limit. Just for some breals, try and see what happens if I just listen to like a new box set or something.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to become despondent, aren't I?
You want already?
Why did they smell like shit, David?
What? Because they were filthy, poor people. Filthy. They lived in a house. It had no walls, no ceiling, no floor.
And chocolate fountains in every room of the house. David's family have never known poverty in their entire life. Even their cat was so spoiled. He was just constantly up to the eyes, high as a kite on catnip. They would open the cupboard door and he was just there on his back, just... Didn't even know what day it was. Didn't know what day it was.
Yeah. He was out of control.
He was out of control.
He was?
No, it was his own choice.
What do you mean?
He opened the catnip cupboard and he self-medicated.
He did go in the cupboard for it, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
Jaffa was constantly... Yeah, Jaffa was he was a crack addict.
I mean, yeah. If you had crack in the cupboard, you'd be in there, wouldn't you? The idea. The whole point is that you don't buy the crack in the first place, so you don't get the urge to shoot up, inject, smoke.
Jaffa didn't buy the
Stuff
catnip.
up.
I think it was just more or less of a treat. But
No, I don't think he bought the catnip. No.
No, exactly. You were. That's what I mean. Like this, it was within
it
your
was a
control.
shitty foot owner.
No, I don't think actually that he did buy the catnip.
He's meeting that stray around the back of the garage and they're slipping each other dreamies, dreamies for catnip.
Oh, God. It's disgusting.
I want 10 ounces. Wow.
Wow.
That's 5 dreamies, pal.
I'll lap you off for some dreamies. Oh.
Opened my car door and he waltzes up and I'm like, hello, you must be Jaffa. And he just cash says, hello. And I'm like, is it?
Are you on catnip?
There's something in the air right now. Did that cat just say hello?
Didn't he try and get into your car?
He did try and get into the car.
He's going to get stolen.
To be fair, it was probably because he could smell catnip on me because I also deal in catnip.
It's like fucking The Wire, rolling up in your Matiz with the blacked out windows. Yo. I got what you need.
In his hoodie and he's rocking up and he's like, hello. He gets in and we drive off and I take him to catnip heaven.
I've sent my husband away from me to the Gherkins Hill in Italy. Hallelujah. I wish 'twas a year before he came back. Hallelujah. Then the gossip who was in the background began to sing, but I ought to tell you, the peasant was called Hildebrand. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All singing I ever shall hate from this day, and here in this basket no longer I'll stay. All singing I ever shall hate from this day, and here in this basket no longer I'll stay. Hallelujah. And he got out of the basket and cudgelled the parson out of the house. The end. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And just to wrap up this episode here, we've got a special guest this week. We've got someone that's previously wrote in to complain about us me specifically using his voice. But he's here this week and he's now happy to share the voice. Isn't that right? Well, I don't want to share it so much as I'd like you to stop using it. That's quite the opposite of what you said when you invited you to come here. You also look a lot like me, I'll be honest. I think we look exactly the same. We're also wearing the same clothes. Yeah, I did notice that. I'd like you to stop doing that as well if you don't mind. I mean, this is a very specific style that I've got going on here. Right, I mean, this is also just the clothes that I have in. It's literally the same exact outfit, the same haircut.
Well, no,
I think. I mean, who's copying who here?
Obviously you, because I was doing this first.
Well, how do you know that? How have you copyrighted everything
Well,
about
of course I
yourself?
have.
Or yes, this outfit, this haircut, it's all being copyrighted.